So spake he, and Calypso, the fair goddess, smiled and caressed him with her hand, and spake and hailed him. Knavish thou art, and no weakling in wit, thou that hast conceived and spoken such a word. Let earth be now witness hereto, and the wide heaven above, and that falling water of the Styx, the greatest oath and the most terrible to the blessed gods, that I will not plan any hidden guile to thine own hurt. Nay, but my thoughts are such, and such will be my counsel, as I would devise for myself, if ever so sore a need came over me. For I too have a righteous mind, and my heart within me is not of iron, but pitiful, even as thine. Therewith the fair goddess led the way quickly, and he followed hard in the steps of the goddess. And they reached the hollow cave, the goddess and the man. So he sat him down upon the chair whence Hermes had arisen, and the nymph placed by him all manner of food to eat and drink, such as is meet for men. As for her, she sat over against divine Odysseus, and the handmaids placed by her ambrosia and nectar. So they put forth their hands upon the good cheer and set before them. But after they had taken their fill of meat and drink, Calypso, the fair goddess, spake first and said, Son of Laertes, of the seed of Zeus, Odysseus of many devices, so it is indeed thy wish to get thee home in thine own dear country even in this hour. Good fortune go with thee even so. Yet didst thou know in thine heart what a measure of suffering thou art ordained to fulfill, or ever thou reach thine own country, here, even here, thou wouldst abide with me and keep this house, and wouldst never taste of death, though thou longest to see thy wife, for whom thou hast ever desired day by day. Not in sooth that I avow me to be less noble than she in form or fashion, for it is in no wise meet that mortal woman should match them with immortals in shape and comeliness. Okay, remember last book when we were talking about Helen and how on the page there are the things that happen verbatim, and then when we get on set of our big prestige TV show or movie, there are different ways to interpret what is transpiring. Because Calypso here is making Odysseus aware of the choice he has in front of him. She's basically saying, you can stay here on this island. I will make sure that you'll never die, that you'll never age. And all this time you've been mourning and yearning to get back to your wife, but mortal women don't have the beauty that the immortal goddesses do, like me. So even what you are striving to get back for, you can have here, and you can have it and more. Because not only are you going back to a place where you will die, your wife is aged, you will age, you are going to endure much more suffering along the way. You will be unharmed, but that doesn't mean that you won't suffer. So that's just what's being laid down here. Do we interpret this on set with our actress playing Calypso to have her be manipulative, to have her be matter of fact, to make her rational and making a understandable case for the irrational that he's choosing or that he wants? I don't think we necessarily need to move in the direction of her being a manipulative goddess in order to really emphasize what he's ultimately choosing, which is basically a hero's journey, right? I mean, he is choosing to go home in spite of all of these things that most mortal people in normal circumstances dream of. That's what makes him human. There's something kind of underneath it all saying the immortal, ageless life isn't as fulfilling as a normal mortal lifespan where you endure suffering because that is what makes us human and gives us meaning. I think we can have that message in many different interpretations of how we play Calypso, and that she isn't toxically comparing herself to Penelope or Penelope to her, but just acknowledging a simple fact. I am a goddess, and with divinehood comes these benefits. It's as simple as that. And I'm offering them to you. You know, I don't think she necessarily has to be rubbing his face in it, saying, why would you ever go back home to your wife, who's never going to be as beautiful as I am, and will age, and you will suffer, and eventually death will come for you if you leave here. Like, she's not putting her finger on the scale of his decision. I think the way I'm reading it, maybe it's just how I want to accept it, is making sure he has all the information to make his choice. If I were in her position, I mean, I would probably do the same thing. Here's a man that I love. I want him to stay with me. I want the best for him. And what he's choosing to do is going to cause him suffering. Therefore, I'm not going to influence his decision so much as just like, hey, if you choose this, this is what you're giving up. Are you okay with that? But maybe my bleeding heart is bleeding through from 2026 to ancient times. I don't know. I'm just continually surprised with Calypso and not being at all what I expected her to be. So maybe I'm taking it a bit too far. Maybe ? That's all a question to you. How do you all see Calypso? Do I have a completely different take on her than you all do? I'm trying to think back to the interpretations I've seen of the Odyssey so far, which aren't many, and I don't even remember Calypso in them, to be honest with you. So I don't know what the kind of easy interpretation of this would be. Listen, I wanted to stay away from this as much as possible. I'm trying to think of who I would cast in the role of Calypso in our prestige adaptation of this. I guess what I'm thinking is someone that holds some integrity. It just kind of exudes a effortless confidence without really holding that over other people. I don't know who would, maybe like a Tiana Taylor I could see, or like an Emma Stone maybe. Kirsten Dunst just came to mind, maybe. I don't know, but we don't have to play casting games. That's gonna be a thread that is gonna unravel a sweater that I definitely don't intend. So I'm gonna be careful with that moving forward. I was just trying to. This is the first character in Calypso that I'm really struggling to wrap my head around in terms of how to interpret her. Helen, yes, but I kind of went into that knowing that. Calypso is just surprising me. So maybe we would ultimately need to do a surprising casting choice, someone you wouldn't expect. I don't know. What do you think? Who would you cast as Calypso? At any rate, it sounds like Odysseus is going to be well on his way. We still have half of Book 5 to go. Maybe he will leave Ogygia before the book is over. Only one way to find out, and that's to keep reading, so join me here tomorrow with a little bit more. Until then, okay, goodbye. Odyssey is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. The show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Odyssey, written by Homer. Theme song by Neuroflow. You can support this show and other shows like it by going to patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.